Baba Boy.
God damn it. So, starting last session, as you made your way over to the Serpent Steps towards the Great Library of Quetzali, a discussion about Vellum leaving camp a couple of nights ago to seek out a great clump of fallen divine star metal. There was some ribbing along the way and some reasonings as to why he chose to do so, but the issue is, for the most part, settled. You then went on to discuss Varesh's proposal, fight each other for money or fight a bunch of powerful beasts for money. Ultimately, the decision was to fight a bunch of beasts, and acquire some chocolate along the way. You could spar with each other at camp for free whenever you like. It also seemed that your new the new individual travelling alongside you, Talali, has some reputation here at the temple, as the guards in front of the temple referred to her as the Daughter. Thanks to her presence, you were allowed into the temple, and you kind of asked to wait for a moment. And during this time, Deja went into a bit of research. Of course, one must give knowledge here to attain knowledge, and you traded a number of scrolls to the temple's celestial guardian, a winged, feathered serpentine creature. After that, you were allowed access to the archives, where you did some research on one particular individual, Mortaris Dredge, a figure whose name was always brought up when studying the final battle at the end of the War of the Undying, the battle for Ruin's Peak. Ally to Voldis, turned into a wraith, who was then turned traitor, dealing a mortal blow to the Lich, and gathering a following after the war. Soon after, you were all taken up to the Archmage himself, who introduced himself as Etzel Azcatl, the representative and avatar of Quetzali, the Great Winged Serpent, living god of magic, creation, and knowledge here in Tanzia. Avatars being this sort of chosen mortals imbued by these living gods with incredible power. You spoke with him about gaining access to Laystone and the secrets of refined obsidian, to which he agreed in exchange for a task to be done for him, to inquire with a diplomat from Ragnarok, Ida Ulnerim, about accessing a long-sealed Akteshi tomb of the Dragon Rider, and acquiring a series of artifacts within, weapons inspired by chromatic dragons and once owned by a number of influential giants from the Akteshi Empire. To Etzel's amazement, Angus showed him the key to unlock the tomb, and after a moment, Etzel unlocked the key itself with a 39 Arcana check. And with that, you have a mission set out for you. After you left, Deja spoke privately with the Archmage about her quarry, the warped creature that was formerly known as Crothis. It stalks the eastern shores of the Actuan Gulf, snuffing out and stalking any scouts sent over there. You also discussed the coming attack by the Black Hand forces, to which Deja admitted that she, regrettably, had some hand in it, and Etzel ordered her to leave his study in anger. Meanwhile, Grunker tried to do some research on Gangar the Magnanimous, the Goblin King, an arch-goblin, or at least his weaknesses. Unfortunately, there wasn't much he didn't already know. To acquire an arch-goblin's powers, the most known way is to kill them in a duel to the death and absorb the power oneself. Deja attempted to do some research on the path of the infamous Malodus through history, that black book of disease and curses, how it was split from the original Infamous Apocryphum alongside two other books, which traced its path to Kitang, the Orcish homelands, how it was the main cause of the Jade Storm. Then, of course, it was taken to the Sun Ward, and then, of course, during the War of the Undying, traded to the hands of Hefsut. And that's where the trail ended. That is also where we left off. So, Hammer Strike. What would you like to do?
This kid's just chilling in the lounge, like the entrance area, just like munching on peanuts or whatever is around, and she's just waiting for all the people who care about books to care about books.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, didn't we have like a list of people and what they were going to research?
Yes, you did.
Yes.
Trying to find it.
I actually have the list with me here right now. Dejar wanted to research the, Iosian rainforest, and this group affiliated with Mortaris Dredge. Grunker wanted to research Incendrius, and Angus wanted to research Uldmar Brackenbrick and the circumstances surrounding him. So, who would like to go first?
I
propose Grunka.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Sorry to interrupt you, Spice, but there's a whole lot of reading that happened with you, and he didn't have an opportunity to find anything, so his results ended up kind of like zilch. Maybe we can give him a good chance first if he wants.
I was gonna suggest that anyway. That
Perfect.
or you.
Okay.
Thanks. I hope it doesn't feel like I'm trying to exclude you on anything. It's just rarely does Grunka ever get the opportunity to do something other than smash. So
Yeah.
I want to make sure our boy's involved.
Okay then. So, you same thing as last time, Grunka. You approach a rather old, rather elderly-looking gentleman. And you kind of mention about your research about this Incendrius individual, and he kind of gestures to that long serpentine creature that kind of drifts its way around the perimeter of the inside of the library, and it swoops down towards you, and seemingly kind of less perches, more sort of hovers above the ground. Looks down towards you, Grunker, with a curious eye. It's heard a story from you once before, and it's curious as to what you're willing to trade at this time.
Okay. So, we're just gonna like turn to the old man. Whatever we like say here, does it matter like what language you do it in, or like is it recorded in the language you tell it in, or is it always just in trade tongue, or how does this work?
Well, typically we record it in Triad tongue. Our guardian spirit here kind of gestures towards the serpentine creature that speak all languages. Do you know what you're wanting to see?
Okay. Yeah, because I feel like it's gonna be easier to do it in one of my own. So. Okay.
He kind of looks towards the serpent, the feathered serpent. He kind of bows his head reverently and kind of steps away for a moment to allow you to speak.
Okay. So in the let's see, what's it called again? Undertongue.
Undertongue, yes.
Yeah. So in Undertongue, Grunkus gonna start talking to the snake, or whatever it's called.
You don't know what it's called unless you would like to do a religion check.
I'm gonna call it Larry.
Fair enough.
Okay, Larry, listen up. Okay. So, this is a bit of a how do you describe it? It's a bit of a bloodline story. It's something that isn't really recorded, and only something that family from my mother's side know.
You watch as you're mentioning this, the serpent, the feathered serpent, or Larry as you've dubbed him, or it, sort of coils in a sort of coiling pile on the ground, as if to sit and listen.
Okay, you do that. So so it's more of an oral thing. It's never really been recorded, and whatever was recorded has been struck from the lore stones. So it's a story about an old relative called Crix the Bright. He used to be one of the early priests of the Holy Flame, a worshipper of Incendius, and he was a kind and devoted man. He was a beacon for his community, and he was, according to what has been said, at least one of the more founding fathers in our current religion. But this was a time when our people first arrived in Deep Top, and it was a bit more. It wasn't as peaceful as it was now. There was the Dvergr, the Deep Dwarfs, didn't really like that we suddenly appeared, and there were some skirmishes and other, raids and counter raids and just general unpleasantries. And in one of those, Crix's wife was slain by a band of Durgar. And what people realized was that as she died, Crix the Bright also died. And what was left became Crix the Burnt. And he was not a nice man. Less a priest and more a zealot. He became the founder and leader of a short but very infamous group of people called the Salamanders. They were a zealot, feverishly zealous group, worshipping the raging holy flame, and their goal was to purge the dark below of all evil, no matter the way they did it. So they went hard on the Durgar and amassed a decent following. There was a lot of people, a lot of deeplings who were very angry at the Durgar, either because they have had other family members taken from them, or hurt or injured, or have been injured or hurt themselves. But they did manage to drive the Durgar off into from a very important area which would then lead to them abandoning the whole area in general and leaving us alone. But the salamanders were very unpleasant, very zealous. They cared not for anyone who were not devout, and they mainly fought with fear. Not really caring if the people they scared were the enemy or the people they were trying to, or at least claiming to protect. Their way of fighting was that they drenched themselves in a flammable liquid and then set themselves ablaze while running towards the enemy. They did not survive more than maybe 2 generations, both because without an enemy to channel all that blind rage into, they started to find enemies where there might not have been any. So they also didn't live very long as individuals. But Krix somehow did not die throughout this whole endeavor, even though he looked more like a corpse than a living being. It was like he was refusing to die. And it is said that his eyes were always ablaze, even after losing an eye, it was still filled with a raging fire. The man did not sleep, the man did not eat, but somehow he still kept going. Until finally he was finally put down by his daughter, who had realized that he was no longer her father, that her father died alongside her mother, and that whatever this thing was only causing more harm than good. And without their purging fire, the salamanders started to fade. The last one leaving, the last group rather, leaving Deep Top in search of their old enemy. Nobody really knows what came to them, but they never returned. And after sending search parties and other efforts to try and find them, there was no trace of them. But the whole community afterwards decided that from everything that they have done and everything that their zealous teachings might cause in the future, it was best that they remain forgotten and never be spoken of. But I feel like the time is right to at least get some at least a little bit of closure for that side of my family. After having carried the secret for many generations. Because the salamanders are no more. But we don't know what caused such feverness, and there are some of my according to my mother, there were some in our family who tried to find out, but was never successful. And I hope that with this knowledge would be able to find at least as close to an answer as possible in these archives of the target for such a worship. And with that, he goes quiet, silenced.
With that, the serpent's gaze lingers upon you for a moment that feels like forever, where it sort of uncoils itself. It raises back up to its 7 to 8 foot tall stature, wings spread wide.
Your offering has been accepted. You may browse the archives.
Thanks, Larry.
And with that, takes off into the air, coils around the exterior of the library, and soars down deep into the library. The archivist next to you, nearby, seems rather taken aback. You constantly surprise me with your stories you tell these creatures. I'm not too sure what said, but must have been engaging.
We might be a pretty young people if you compare to Gurkha, gonna kind of like gesture to Liska, who's almost as old as his race. But you know, it's been through a lot.
Understood. What is it you said you wanted to research?
I want to research what you have of the of these incendious.
And it kind of thinks to himself. I do believe I know that name. Come with me.
I hope so.
And because of that story, I'm not even going to roll for this. And I'll give you inspiration for that as well, Grunker.
Oh, thanks. I did actually use my inspiration for once. Let's see. Where's the thing? There it is.
So, this library is old and vast. Some of its texts it keeps for research purposes are so old that they're not even written on parchment, but etched in stone. Akteshi relics from eons ago that were probably only recently discovered within the last century. From what you've seen so far, particularly after discovering that one Akteshi burial site whereupon you battled its bound elemental guardians and then freed the essence of the fire elemental bound there. It would seem that the Akteshi giants had some affiliation with the elemental spirits and elemental magic. The archivist passes you on to someone who somewhat specializes in Akteshi history, and he shows you some of the stone-etched tablets on display in this library. They are massive, some of them as large as 10 feet tall.
Oh, finally some actual literature.
Yeah. Some of these depict murals of elemental spirits in conversation with Akteshi shamans. He leads you to a series of old, slightly charred stone tablets that have been likely preserved for centuries. And inscribed upon this dark, polished basalt stone, together there's 3 of them. They all depict, in some variation or another, a battle scene. A whirling inferno of a vaguely humanoid figure. You see depictions of angelic figures that are being thrown and scattered before it. Behind the figure, a tremendous bird-like creature comprised of flame burns a legion of these angelic figures, with but one beat of its wings. And inscribed all throughout between the figures is giant text. This archivist says, according to historical entries, these stones depict a retelling of a battle from the Primordial War, as told by an elemental spirit of fire to an Akteshi stonemason. We rediscovered these from an ancient stone burial site some 50 years ago. According to the Akteshi storytellers, this whole story is said to come from a fire elemental.
I see.
It's at that moment, as you're looking over it, there's something familiar within the mural that you notice, Gronka. Within the grasp of the Inferno is a vicious-looking, grinning axe, whose blade is comprised of pure flame.
Oh.
While you don't speak giant, the researcher does. He goes into detail, reading through the giant text. According to this amulet, Incendrius the Scarmaker was a name that all angels feared. For when Incendrius was set loose upon them during the Primordial War, all other elemental forces fled the battlefield. He was a towering firestorm of pure primal rage, burning large swathes of land in his wake, leaving nothing but the scorched remains of collapsed and sundered angelic armor behind. With but one furious swing of his terrible axe, he decimated legions with ease. And he was accompanied on the battlefield by his pet and lifetime companion, Cinder, a beautiful phoenix-like creature created by Incendrius himself. Woe also came to any allies who stood in their way during his blind rampages and her graceful airborne waves of destruction. His spiritual bond with his weapon and his companion was legendary. But now, many thousands of years later, Incendrius' spirit has long since been lost to the astral ley lines, and his fractured embers scattered to the winds. He craves the day he would find a worthy shell of a weapon. There we go. Within which he might reform. It is also said that Cinder slumbers in mourning, waiting, watching, over one of his last remaining embers. This axe possessed a name that is now lost to history. The archivist continues. And that is the story engraved upon this very stone. He kind of brushes a pair of withered fingers against the surface, thoroughly enthralled by it. It is a fascinating piece of history. What I wouldn't give to have been there at the moment this tale was consigned by chisel to stone.
Yeah, it was Lucy. That was interesting.
You recall, during your battle with Snowjaw, you too scorched the ground in your wake.
I sure did, didn't I? Okay. I see.
Is that all you were looking for?
I think so. Is there like, when I'm here, can I like double dip, or do I have to do like a new story if I want to do like a new subject, or like is it like once I'm in here I can like continue?
It all depends on whether your story was judged worthy enough by the Celestial Spirit. If it is so worthy as to allow you to research for a few more hours, then I see no reason why you cannot continue with your research.
Okay. Well, if I can, I wouldn't mind see if you got anything on Jenny, what's it called? Is it called like the plane of fire or like the ring of fire or what do you call it in this world again?
Oh, that chain of volcanoes.
No. The actual like plane of fire,
Oh,
like the
that's the plane of elemental fire.
right. Okay. Okay, I just wasn't sure if you were calling it the plane or whatever. Okay. I was gonna say, like, do you have anything about the elemental plane of no the plane of elemental fire? That's what it's called.
That is not my specialty, but I perhaps might be able to help you research that.
Okay.
All right.
I think it would be interesting to know.
So, since you are double dipping here, I will. This will be another. This will be rolled for.
Sure thing. Let's see. Was it he or me who rolled?
Your choice.
Could choose, right? Probably best if he rolls.
Okay.
Honestly. I assume he's not like a mega dement and have like actual good smart stats.
We shall see.
Better than my ace, at least.
So you roll with advantage.
Nope. Oh, I
Okay,
guess I
so
won.
roll twice. Oh,
Okay.
there we go. 21.
It's pretty good.
Okay, so as you spend a bit more time with this researcher, in fact, I can. Let me just go ahead and pop into Roll20 so I can grab my notes on this real quick. If you spare me a bit of time here. Here we go, cosmology.
While we're waiting, I just want to add that the level of repeating symbology is just interesting.
Time is a circle.
I mean, that's kind of how it goes with oral traditions. A story is repeated in the most memorable elements, and sooner or later someone will repeat it, and then it just goes and goes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the basic things that you do get on the plane of fire, it's like it's you do gather some notes from an unnamed plains hopper who's a plane hopper whose name has sort of been lost to the eons of time. These texts are very, very old. He recalls about how arriving on the plane of fire, it's like stepping into the flaming maw of a dragon, and if one does not have protection or immunity from temperatures high enough to melt stone, typically death is swift. Of course, assuming the visitor has the capability to withstand that, it has weather. It is the plane does have weather. It is hot, deadly. Rains of hot ash move about like thunderstorms. There are water very quickly evaporates. It's nigh impossible to find here, and in its place are rivers of magma and what are called firefalls. Not waterfalls, firefalls. This is the place. This is one of the places where one of the very fundamental elements of the world is birthed. It is a seething hot landscape of white hot obsidian that is this sort of glass-like in texture. Elementals of the fire plane are typically born here. Creatures also native to the fire plane are salamanders. There's also a passage here which talks about creatures that have found their home here within the last few millennia. Fire giants. It reminisces about maybe after the fall of the Akteshi Empire, some giant clans disappeared into the elemental planes. However, there's very little else about that you can find. It is very likely that indeed Incendius was born here.
Does it say how the plane jumper got to the plane?
Yes, the plane jumper does recall a spell called Plane Shift. Very powerful spell. And again, you're not really a magic user, so what Grunker makes of that is up to him.
Okay. Writes down plane shit. Okay.
Okay.
The plane shit spell.
Yes.
Okay. I probably gonna ask the jar about that at some point.
And one of the most powerful creatures to inhabit the plane of fire are creatures called Novae, also known in the material plane as phoenixes. They are born from the fiery remains of the elemental Lord of Fire, and are able to shift between the plane of fire and the material realms at will. And of course, the language spoken by the natives is called Ignan, and it kind of resembles the hissing and clicks of wood being consumed by a burning campfire.
I see. Okay, that was interesting. Kind of thinks back to the times where he suspects that he has been there in his dreams, and just kind of like, it does seem to add up from what I've seen. He doesn't say that aloud. He just kind of like thinks that. But yeah, okay, that's interesting. There's birds everywhere, even there.
Yes, phoenixes are said to be very beautiful creatures, but very, very dangerous.
Goes for a lot of things I've heard. Okay, well, I think that's it. I can't really think about anything more right now.
Well, if you do think of anything, come back to me. Perhaps we can extend this research.
Okay.
And with that, make your way back to the party.
Hello. Next.
Oh, okay. Right, so,
Yes.
Let's see. Oh,
I think let's go next.
Alice. You're
Alice, you around?
Yes. I was muted.
You go next.
Fantastic.
Right.
Well, he's gonna, I assume, look at the peanuts from where he's been sitting outside and waiting with Liska. You ever get a little bit curious about things? Like, oh gee, how was this or that, or you know, what was it like hundreds of years ago? Well, actually, shit, you might be able to live that long.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe about things far before that. You know, maybe generations ago.
No, not really.
You don't.
Most of what I need to know is passed on anyway. Like, and I learn, like, how to fight. Like, I train myself in combat. I learn from what I do and my enemies do. I don't need to know how someone killed someone 1,000 years ago. I need to know how to kill someone now.
Aye, but you've never thought, oh, what if there was a lost special technique taken to the grave by a master, something like that? Or
No,
like
that was their technique, not mine. Like, that kind of mastery is something that is ingrained in you, like, physically over years and years, decades of practicing. And by that time, it was probably fine-tuned for them specifically. If I wanted to learn how to master something, I would master it myself. Don't worry about
That's-
me. I have all these peanuts and they seem to be bringing more, so it is fine.
Alright. It's just... He's kind of sitting on, I assume they're... Oh, do they have chairs?
Yeah.
Just pillows?
Yeah, they got stone benches with bunches of pillows everywhere.
I guess he's sitting up on one and kind of kicking his feet. Right, you know. Mastery of the now, not the then. You know. Professional.
It's alright. It honestly is fine. Don't worry about me. If I find someone who can beat me in combat, I learn how to overcome it.
Ah, yes. But let's say, you know, hypothetically,
Mm-hmm.
there was something you wanted to know, right? And, maybe it's something really important about your trade, you know, about your being a great warrior. Maybe there was a sword fighting technique or glaive technique, and it would be really useful to have now, but it's hard to find that knowledge. Do you think it would be, I don't know, a little, admitting of defeat to try and learn about it here instead of just trying to figure it out yourself?
I feel like you were trying to ask a question with that. Can you just say it a lot more plainly? Like, what are you asking?
There are some things I want to learn about, and this is a great place to do so, but I'm a little worried. Do you think it's wrong not just to figure things out on yourself, by yourself, you know, but to seek knowledge from a place like here? Does that defeat...
Well, what is the knowledge you're trying to Like, if you want to know how to swing a sword, I can teach you how to swing a sword. If you want to learn how to, like, bake a cake, you can read on how to bake a cake. Like, is this about wanting to learn how to fight?
Well, yeah, no. I was trying to use that because you're good at that, and it might be easier to under. All right, look, it's hard for me to talk about these things, but I'm trying to figure out what happened several hundred years ago, and something about that place where all the magic items are made in the forge in Doonheart district. And, well, apparently it's got something to do with the damn ring that I got, and something to do with my family, and something about a dragon. So I'm trying to figure that out, but I don't know if it's defeating my own journey by researching it here instead of I don't know, finding some scroll in an ancient lost ruin or something, just you don't ever read about a hero sitting down and reading about something.
Well, I feel like you would if you sit down and read it here, but like, what makes the difference of like finding the same knowledge, like when you're bloody and bruised, going through like a temple full of enemies versus being comfortable eating peanuts inside this place? Do you think that like knowledge is something you have to like fight for or something? Like, apparently all you have to do is tell a story. That's what Granka keeps doing.
I mean, to be fair, they're pretty good stories.
Yeah. Like I said, like, yeah. Why do you think it makes you less? Like, why does you think it makes you less by how you accomplish it? Like, do you like if and I'm you're going to have to excuse me, I don't know how your cooking shit works, but like, let's say you have an ingredient that comes from like super far away. Chocolate. Yes, we were talking about chocolate before we came here. Let's say you have chocolate from here, and it's like the same type of chocolate that that they make here, but you bought it at a store just down the street. If you can use that, or if you had to take like 5 months of traveling, going forth, and getting the same amount of chocolate from the same place, and like which one would you prefer? Because I feel like the chocolate is still the same chocolate. It's just if you suffered or not to get it.
Well, I guess chocolate aside, I suppose it feels like there's something magical when you suffer through and you get it, but I guess if it's the same chocolate, it's the same.
Yeah, like the cake comes out the same. Like, do you think someone's going to taste the difference in the chocolate if you feed them the cake? It's like, no, it's just you have unnecessary scars and possibly like a limp trying to get the chocolate. I don't know about a limp, but we're just assuming that bad things happen on the way to the chocolate.
Right, as they do. Chocolate seems to be worth it. Okay, that makes more sense.
You can always make up a story of how you got the knowledge if someone asks.
But I don't want to lie, and it's more for me,
Though, I'll tell you what, and she just kind of conspiratorially leans in. It's like, I'm just saying that what we've gone through already is kind of a story, if you think about it. We just came through the Mordborg, we killed a dragon twice. Like, you're in the middle of a place surrounded by like fucking flying snakes and gigantic fucking not dragons, dino. What did fuck they call it?
I have no idea.
Dino Dickus. I don't know, but like giant creatures. Like what makes you think that right now isn't a good story? I'm sure if Zerth, that bard fucker, was here, he'd probably be laughing at you for thinking this isn't something that could be made into a good story.
I suppose you're right. Maybe getting to sit here with the comfy chairs and the peanuts is the reward for all that.
Exactly.
Huh.
And they keep mentioning something about coffee. Like, I'm curious as to what that is.
It's a very bitter bean juice. Have you ever had tea?
Yes, that's like leaf juice.
Exactly. But it's tea made out of beans. But the beans make you fast and have to pee.
Fast, but have to pee.
Aye.
Interesting. Okay. Alright, fuck it, I might try it, who knows. Liska kind of holds up a hand, just like trying to flag someone down, and then she looks back to Angus as he continues talking.
You remember when you had the haste spell put on you? It's a lot like that. Maybe not quite as intense, but, more consistent, so long as you keep drinking more.
Okay, that's interesting. So is this like a potion or something? Is it magical?
The jar seems to think so.
Okay. Oh well. Yes, I will think about it, but I guess we'll order it. Oh yes, and let's get kind of motions to the individual who's coming. It's like, do you have coffee?
You kind of flag down a small wayfish-looking researcher. Looks like she's new to her role. You know, yes, we do have coffee. Would you like some?
Can we have two? And she kind of looks at Angus like 2 pints, 2 pints of coffee.
You're sure you want pints and not cups?
How does it come in cups? I don't. Whatever you deem appropriate, we will have.
Can you bring something her-sized?
I will see what I can do.
Thank you.
And with that, she makes her way off.
Sao, meanwhile, is just looking at Angus and Liska for a moment, just kind of wondering a bit to herself, then she pipes up. I do think there is something about what they just said. If the Shah really likes this stuff, but it keeps her awake, and you said it makes you want to go pee, I think a pint of it is going to be terrible for you.
The jar just here. Huh? What?
Oh, this is Jar's probably not here right now. This is while her and everyone's away.
Dejar is off researching.
As long as I know where the bathroom is, why does it matter if I have to pee?
Yeah, I mean, that is true.
It's also what the side of the road is.
It's just... for some, it's a little more difficult. It kind of looks between you two. But for others, there's the good old Bush method.
Bush.
What was I saying? Oh, right. I would like to ask the thingy about some stuff. And, I think I'm gonna go do that. Thank you for talking with me. I was worried about having this idea of a hero and their progress in my head. and not being that, you know?
Yeah, and
So
Liska's
it's just-
gonna.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Liska's gonna kind of like smile, nod, and kind of pat Angus on the shoulder, big old fucking hand. Just be like,
The
You
size
are a
of his
hero.
entire head.
yeah, it's like you are a hero, Angus. Like, what do you think?
What? No.
Like, no. Think about everything that we have done. Like, all these stuff that we have done for Mainland, that we're likely going to be doing for Tanzia. Like, we're the heroes.
Angus, you literally talked to a bunch of ancestral spirits and rallied them against the dragon.
Oh, wait, well, but that was spirits doing all the hard work. I just asked for help. You know,
And do you know what-
that's not me.
One of these days, I'm gonna hammer you over the head with a book about what a hero is. You are one.
I don't think you're supposed to do that with books. Hammer with a hammer.
Use a
I was being metaphorical.
Oh. I thought. I see. Right. Wink.
But no, yeah, like, if you think of a hero, like, a hero is someone that has done things beyond the mortal can for other people. Like, we've done that many,
Oh.
many times.
A hero can be
Mayhaps.
many things. A hero can deliver food to a starved out people. A hero can be someone who rallies up against a corrupt mayor. But what really makes a story of a hero worth it is that they keep being one. And so far, you've helped take down dragons, repel an invasion twice, save a king, his daughter, and you've helped slay multiple dragons. Not to mention the spirit stuff before. How much more of a hero do you think you need to be in order to qualify as one?
Yeah, you should just really retire. Like, you've done too much.
Oh, but there's still a lot to do before I can prove myself. You know, I have to. And then there's Morthholm, and I still need to fix that. I mean, well, sure, it's not got any spooky dragon people in it anymore, but I mean, all the souls and everybody's still there. They're waiting on me to fix it. I got to do that. And then I'm over in Mountainholm and the temple, and I have to return with the steam hammer and how that's working, and I gotta upgrade that. There's still a lot to do. I can't retire. I just started. I haven't
See?
been in an adventure about a couple of years now, at most.
So I was just giving Liska a pair of eyes that just outright says to her, like, dwarves, am I right?
This kid Liska returns it, just like, yeah, this tiny motherfucker.
Look, Angus, you've done a lot already, and I get it. But, like, pat yourself on the shoulder a little. You've done a lot already, and you have more to do. So take a moment to be proud of yourself.
I guess I just am looking up to some big legacies. And well, each generation the bar gets a little higher. Well, I found out rather that generations ago someone set a very high standard for me. And I need to figure out how to reach and surpass that, and it's a little bit just, you know?
Angus, I'm pretty sure whomever is your descendant is gonna look at the mountain of a bar you set already. I just wonder the same thing.
Better be a mountain. I ain't standing on top of no little pebble. Aye, but thank you. I guess I'm just worried because I don't know, hearing that your great something grandpappy made a deal with the dragon to... You know, the whole Doonheart thing, the fire, it's just... It feels like, oh geez, that's important. How am I gonna match that? Or, oh, that seems so significant that I shouldn't just read about it in a library. It's... I don't know. Guess I'm coming to terms with that and things, and it's just a little difficult, and sorry to ask for all this.
Well, I'll say this, Angus. There's something that that took a while for me myself to kind of come to terms with. And it is the idea of even comparing yourself to others. Like, the only person that you should be comparing yourself to is the you of yesterday. Because you're constantly building and making yourself better. And you're moving forward. And you should not compare to someone who didn't have your upbringing, didn't have your life, didn't make the decisions you have made. There's no way that you can possibly live the exact same life that they did. Because you are an individual and your own person. You need to look forward and walk your own path. It might be parallel with theirs. You might walk along the same path that they did for a while before you veer back. But your destination is different than the one that they had. And you should be looking forward to the journey that you take, that you still have to trod, as opposed to the one that they did.
Angus is kind of like staring off, not exactly at you, a little bit past you, and he's got this stupefied kind of look, like the idea of like the non-collective and the individual is something that's like literally something out of fables, out of some lesser gods. It's like, because it's like so obscure. Like, what do you mean not go with the collective?
Yep, dwarves.
He's just
surprisingly enough, very, very collective society.
They really are.
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking at this interaction between them and just goes, take it this way. You have a pound of stone and a pound of iron. Which one has more volume over the other?
Oh, well, the stone, of course, it tends to be less dense.
Mm-hmm. But the weight of it is the same. It does not matter about the weight of the action. It matters about the size. But it also depends on what you need it for. A mountain of good small deeds, or one big favor. Do you wish to feed a king or an army?
He's kind of looking. I'd rather feed a clergy and a family, to be honest.
A mountain of good small deeds.
Right. Okay.
In your case, I'm pretty sure you have a mountain of big favors at this point.
Well, I do have a mountain home, as he kind of rests his fists on his hip and just kind of puts his chest out and tilts his head up to the side.
I was just rolling her eyes with a grin.
Now fucking go to either or something. The longer it takes you to do this, the longer I have to stay here.
Alright, right. What did Grandpa call him? Larry? What is Larry?
Larry the Fable guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was something like that.
Okay, so you approach one archivist, an older lass, possibly in a sort of mid-60s, sort of wrinkled, sun-weathered skin, Although she's aged gracefully, she kind of notices your approach, Angus. I'm not a visitor from a foreign land, I take it.
Hello,
Since some
I am
curiosity about
Angus
you.
Brackenbrick. Hold on, I'm gonna have to finish saying hello. Hello, I am Angus Brackenbrick. Okay, now you.
My name does not matter in this place. But I presume you wish to browse the archives.
I do. How do I do that?
And she kind of holds up a hand and signals to the flying creature you've seen kind of snaking through the air in this library. Actually, make me a religion check real quick.
Okay. Religion check. Is this a passive thing? Where the 18, or would you like me to actively roll, do guidance stuff?
Passive
like
is
that?
18. Never mind. Yeah, you've kind of perused some of the other faiths and sort of neighbouring nations. Not intensely, because again, it's not your own faith, but you know of some celestial spirits present in other religions. Of course, there are the angels of the Angelicist faith. They are quite powerful in their own right. You've also heard of some minor celestial spirits. It's not uncommon for these minor celestials to make their home in the Materium, particularly around these temples of worship. These creatures are called Coatls, known for their knowledge of arcana and history. Typically otherworldly beings, sages and scholars. And it's said that they were created as guardians of ancient and forgotten knowledge. By what, though, is unknown to you.
How do you say it in trade tongue? Coatl? Coatl?
Coatl.
Coatl. Got it. I got it. Alright. Fantastic. Sorry, Dwarven, it's a little bit more... somehow there's more consonants, so... You have to... It's in... The way it's very... It's sort... Anyway. I have questions. Oh, no. Sorry, what are you afraid? What?
Dwarven history is not my specialty, but we do have specialists here. And the serpent kind of descends and holds its position before the researcher, eyes locked upon her.
Hello.
She kind of holds out a finger to you as she seems to be listening to some unspoken words. Oh. You have brought the Archmage something of value. She kind of says to you, Angus.
Oh, yes. I brought in a Teshi pyramid key. He's quite smart, the lad. It is a he, right?
He is, he's a hard-working man.
Right. Well, he solved, what is it? This! As he takes out the bag of holding, the large Akteshi pyramid. He said I have to bring it to somebody, so I don't know if I can give it to you. Like a copy of a book or something. But if you'd like, we could do some circle rubbings of the outside patterns. Wait, no, he already has a perfect clone.
No, that won't be necessary. It seems, because she kind of side glances to the serpent. Seems what you offered the Archmage be enough to warrant a worthy offering.
Great. Right. Well, I have sort of a two-parter. I'm looking for some information further down my family lineage, Dwarven history, weird sort of magical bits to it, things like that, which ties into some odd sort of dragon lore and dragons involved with magic and magical fire that can destroy magic items and things like that. And I have some names and some artifacts and things for what did the cross reference?
She kind of gives you a
I have thingies to look at.
she gives you a peculiar look. It might be needing to pass you off to someone who is more experienced in this field.
Hey, please and thank you.
Follow me.
Okay.
Step up to a golden disc and descend into the lower levels of the library.
Bye, Liska. Enjoy the coffee.
You and she descend to a ring of the library, labelled in trade tongue, also presumably in Tosian, history of foreign lands. It kind of leads you through a maze of towering scroll shelves to a sort of open plaza of sorts, and you see, sat alone, scrolls stacked high around him, is a single elderly dwarven gentleman, dressed in similar garb to the rest of the temple archivists. This long white beard, ruddy tanned skin, a pair of thick round spectacles that sort of magnify his eyes tenfold, liver spots across his bald head. He's got this sort of toothless underbite. He looks ancient.
This dude's like 170.
Yeah, presumably. You kind of approach, and you can hear him mumbling to himself while he reads over a few scrolls.
Mm-hmm. He just kind of stands silently there for a moment, and let him finish reading. He's not going to interrupt. He knows his manners.
You kind of wait for a moment, another moment. You hear the other archivist next to you. Wait for a moment. Gavis? And she kind of steps up to him, places a hand on his shoulder, and you hear him. He kind of jumps up for a moment.
Where?
This gentleman we wanting
Hello.
to know about some sort of family lineage, dwarven history. Thought you might be knowing something about this.
Oh, I don't get many dwarves visiting these halls. Nice to be finding fellow kin this far from the homelands once in a while.
I was not expecting a dwarf, but I'm glad to have one.
Right, so what you wanting to research?
Well, I learned my great and so on grandpappy apparently lit the Doonhart Forge, and I got this from a divine sort of intervention, and now I'm left with curiosity about how he was able to forge this, as he takes the necklace off that has the ring of the Rune Lord. He apparently made this, which was the one whatnot was made by, or worn by, he who shalt not be named, and then got turned into something nasty when a little, how do I explain what this slotty is? When a monster frog demon devil thing got put in it, And then we banished that to a different plane, and then it went back to being normal and good. And now it's this.
The stunned look on this ancient dwarf's face is palpable. You can see the wide-eyed, his glasses sort of magnify them tenfold, and you can see he just sort of blinks once.
Alright, let's start from ground zero then. And he starts taking out the family ledger. And then he takes out the Tarnished Journal. And then he takes out all the different little things. And he takes out every little bit and book and lore that he's collected.
As you're doing this, he kind of gestures to the other archivist.
We'll take this from here, Ross.
And she makes her way off.
Thank you.
And I'm assuming you're going through all of this with him.
Yes.
All the dreams, all the visions, just everything you have so far.
He's recorded those.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say so. I can be as accurate as an 18 wisdom character, which is beyond me. He probably takes very good meticulous notes. He's got the shield and the stone tablets where he does all that, and I can just reference the pinned messages you sent me. I'm gonna say he's not just head smart with that and good at remembering things. That it's because he takes notes and studies.
Yep.
So he's gonna take out all of those, and he's gonna go over the other things that have happened, and all of the visions, and the statues, and the bit with the ring, and the teeth, and then the being nice afterwards, and the silver, and the lone dude, and the lake of lava, and then all of this, and then the various visions, and the Morbog turning green, all that shit. And he's gonna be here for a while. They're probably gonna need some coffee.
Yeah, and the elderly gentleman kind of does signal over a sort of someone to bring the both of you coffee. I believe this is the first time you're drinking coffee as well, so
yeah,
it is bitter. It tastes awful, but it
and he takes out his flask and he pours some in.
Hey, get used to it after a while. But back up to what you said earlier, something about Oldmar.
Oh, aye. So it's, I believe, Great the 8th power? Or 9. This lad, Omar Brackenbrick, goes way back. Beyond my clan, actually, predecessor, I believe, on father's side. Mother's side, Thunderbeard. He made this. And he holds out the ring. And there was this, the Duneheart forge, it was dark, and then there was this flash of scales and talons, but it wasn't like a fighting thing. It was like when one of them higher ups sort of flicks their beard off to the side and it catches the torchlight. It's one of those sort of like impressions, not necessarily like intimidation, sort of. And then there was all the value in that, and the metal. It was. Sorry, it's a lot to go over.
Hey, Oldmar, that's the where have I heard that name before? That's the Greenskin Wars. But year 100 in the new calendar. I've researched it well. There aren't many accounts of Oldmar, but maybe I can help you compile a few things. Follow me.
And he kind of gets up, takes a cane from beneath the desk, and he begins to lead you through a section of the ward named Dwarven History. to a subsection entitled The Greenskin Wars. And he's very slow to get anywhere, and you have to be a little bit patient with him. He ends up kind of wandering off. Yeah, he kind of ends up wandering off a couple of times, and you get lost for a few minutes, finding yourselves under Carthan history before redirecting him back towards the appropriate section.
Spending plenty of time as a guild apprentice and working under some venerable masters, this is something he seems to be quite patient and used to.
Oh yes. Let's see here. Would you like to make an investigation check, or would you want him to? Either case with advantage.
An investigation or what? I'm sorry.
Would either you? It's either you or him making an investigation check with advantage, since you're both helping each other here.
I'm gonna suggest that he does it, and can I give him guidance on this in the means of, like, maybe, roleplay wise, he's looking for things. Maybe he's turns on his armor to make it light, so that way everything's very easy to see. Maybe he'll read out names of things, And of course, there's the magical divine aspect of the spell too, of guiding him to something.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll suggest he does that, and we can throw on one of these at the end.
All right. So that's plus 3. Okay. Well, okay then. Yeah. With 28, through a couple of hours of compiling a number of books together, he ends up locating one weathered scroll thought lost, and you sort of illuminate. With your sort of illumination with your armor, you notice it down an ancient crevice in the carved stone between a couple of scroll shelves. The crevice itself is sort of filled with dust and cobwebs from eons gone by, and written in Dwarven script, it is titled, "What Lies Beneath."
Oh, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Oh, that looks old, very old. Let's see what we can make of it.
You spend the next few hours kind of toiling through various accounts and retellings of battles, disseminating facts from fanciful fiction, comparing family lineages, and ultimately, this is the summation of the knowledge you acquire. Uldmar grew up within Mountainholm as an apprentice forgehand. He grew up to be gifted with the forge and mastered some of the toughest metals early on in life, a prodigy of sorts. And he once he was old enough, he travelled across the different dwarf holms of Mayland, learning from the best. When he spent some of his years in Farinholm, he met an individual, young dwarven woman called Mordra, a fiery-haired young warrior. The two started off as friends, but quickly fell in love after she saved his life from a band of hobgoblin raiders during the first outbreak of the Greenskin Wars. Since then, the two became inseparable and fought against Gargot's hordes together. Tales about how Uldmar was granted the gift and knowledge of runecraft are hazy at best. They delve into the plausible to the downright embellished and fantastical, but a common point that all touch upon is visions and dreams. Uldmar gifted Mordra a runic mithril axe, said to be imbued with a bolt of lightning, infused with the power of the storms, with which she cut through the armies of Warlord Gargot during the height of his invasion of Mayland. But after the Goblin King, Gengar the Magnanimous, involved himself directly in the conflict, it was not enough. It's then that the old dusty scroll seems to fill out some of the long empty gaps here. The dwarven researcher himself becomes very sort of enthralled and excited about these revelations. Apparently, a stranger approached Uldmar with an offering of aid in Mayland's time of need. As a result of this pact, the Doonheart Forge was relit, and an invading force of greenskins was pushed into its forges, enabling Uldmar to be the first to forge green bane weaponry. He bathed Mordra's axe in the rekindled forge, and she used it to strike a blow against Gengar so devastating it forced him to retreat underground. In the following years, Uldmar bathed the axes of the finest dwarfen warriors in the Doonheart Forge, creating a legion's worth of greenbane weaponry that would push Gargot's forces out of Mayland. Since then, Uldmar gained the title of Rune Lord, and the Doonheart Forge's flame has burned bright ever since, with offerings of metal, weapons, jewellery and gems to honour Doon. Though the old dusty scroll mentions a closely guarded secret by the Dwarven Rune Lords, known only to the Rune Lords themselves. An old oath keeps something deep below Doonhollow. An entity that keeps the forge burning day and night. And in your head you contrast this with what Liska mentioned a number of days ago at camp, about the siege of Druvenholm, the aftermath of a legion of ogres devastated by something. You recall your legend lore vision, the stranger. Armour becomes wing and scale. A dragon. Now you know someone who has experience with dragons.
I do.
It also occurs to you that whoever gave this piece of information to the library has, in all likelihood, or was, in all likelihood, desperate or self-serving. In either case, some sort of oath of secrecy was broken here.
Braun, what did you do? Right.
Oh, these are certainly new revelations.
Says the fact is vague enough that this information was given up meant that it had to be by our Rune Lord, and that if they were trying to give this away, they must have been very desperate or know longer cared.
The researcher kind of side-eyes you, Angus.
I think this ought to stay between us, lad.
You know, I think it should. I think it should. What else should be between us is this, as he holds up the flask. Thank you. You have helped me understand things just a wee bit better. I'll have to talk to some friends.
Kind of takes a swig of the flask.
Oh, with these revelations, I think you're going to need more of that.
Perhaps later on you might be able to help me or point me to somebody who might know about dragons that live in the mainland area and perhaps inside of mountains. He's kind of like has that sort of grimaced smile of, oh boy. Who's that other person that Angus was aware of that knew about dragons?
Liska.
Yeah, because I was gonna say the blue dragon, or is there like another dragon? Because my only thought was Liska. Because she was talking about like, oh, you know, they did this before and dragons fought along with them, and I'm like, oh yeah, right. Oh jeez.
Well, if you have anything else you want to run by me, lad, feel free. This is fascinating stuff.
How does somebody become one of these rune lords?
I've never quite been sure myself. From what I've researched, it's either after some great deed involving runecraft or some feat of incredible heroism. The specifics I don't know.
I've never really felt like a hero, but my friends are going off saying that I am. They'll lead armies and I've forged legendary items. Done quite a bit, but it doesn't seem enough to be. Maybe there's something much deeper to it than really meets the surface. Maybe that's not such a simple question with a simple answer.
Perhaps being a hero isn't just about fame and fortune. That's what I've learned in my life, my long years spent here.
Perhaps so. Perhaps so. Life's a lot different than the stories you tell in the tavern, it seems.
Oh, aye. Though, from what the stuff you've told me, would you be opposed to me writing it down myself and maybe putting it in here somewhere?
You know, I'd be quite happy to. Maybe that could add as a second contribution, history and whatnot. If I have to bring along my dragon expert friend and read a different book in a different section. You know, not ask for a freebie on that. Pay it forward now to read later.
Aye. I would say all that you've told me would be reason enough for another bout of research, but only the Celestial Guardian here, the Coatl, can deem that so.
Well, let's take some good footnotes then, and then we'll let them review and see if it's worthwhile. Then maybe we take a wee break and come back at it once I can grab my friend.
Aye, very well.
Okay, so is that all you wanted to research here? For the meantime?
Yeah, later on, if Avon's up for it, grab Liska and be like, hey, you want to help me figure some shit out about dragons and be our extra bit of wisdom? But I don't want to do me back to back. We want to jump to spies.
E.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you wanted to research two topics. First, the Ioshan rainforest and this group associated with Mortaris Dredge.
Yeah, I just to preface this last session, I gave up 2 Necromancer spellbooks.
Yes, you did.
I knew that.
Okay, so just go ahead and roll me an investigation check with advantage. I don't know, investigation or history, your choice.
I'll do investigation. I'm pretty good with those. Oh shit.
Oh shit! A fucking 27.
God damn, I'm gonna learn shit today.
Well, considering this is very, yeah, you've done your fair bit of research already regarding Mortaris Dredge, sort of delving further into him, or sort of more importantly, his followers. It's going to take you a lot more time. It's going to be a higher DC, but the 27, that I'd say that far surpassed what you needed. Yeah, from what you've understood so far, this is hidden knowledge that very few people know about. So as your books and scrolls sort of drift from your hands, the serpent nods. Apparently, the offering is adequate, and you're led down the darkness of the familiar, dingy and sort of dust-coated wards of the lower library shelves, and alcoves that haven't been touched in decades, possibly centuries.
Yep, as you do.
You begin your search, acquiring the oldest tomes you found while researching Mortaris Dredge. You begin to scour the records regarding any organizations that formed in the years following the War of the Undying. There are, of course, the Gatekeepers, the most notable organization. There's a number of unrelated guilds and organizations that formed during the era of rebuilding that followed the war, including the Confederation of Clancrafts in Mayland. You do, however, with that 27, you take notice of a string of strange and convenient deaths during those years. These were deaths of individual guild leaders and political figures who, later on, were revealed to have affiliations with some remnant awakened groups. No souls were present for a resurrection to take place. One death of a wealthy nobleman from the earliest years of the Joran Tsardom, Kanovich Voroshkov, is quite unusual. A mystic that was loyal to the oldest noble clan at the time. He was found with his throat slit, his soul missing, and his awakened amulet was found stuffed into his mouth. A symbol was branded into his forehead. This symbol will also see if I can stick that in the party chat there for you. 1 second.
Okay, that's interesting.
One might even say convenient.
Indeed. Very convenient.
There you go.
Interesting.
So, Morso, he held in a sort of death grip, rigor mortis, a silver featureless mask and a torn piece of black silk. Signs of a struggle.
At the mention of that, Yara's gonna take out the black silk torn that she got from Black Dragonborn and hold it up. And then think back to a certain individual that she's been on missions with. And shake her head, no. That's way too convenient, though.
The family, the family friends of Voroshkov kept the circumstances of his death mostly a secret, so as to not deal with the shame of their close friend being an awakened agent, and it was declared a suicide.
Of course.
The most revealing information comes after discovering a long-lost log of accounts stowed away in the very back of a dusty granite shelf. This connects a lot of this information together, and it's the result of that 27 there. This is where you discover a name, or at least a title, a collective moniker. Deathwalkers. This is the name of the disciples of Lord Mortaris Dredge. According to some accounts, nervously put to the old, this old partly burnt parchment here, they uphold a dark legacy, one that frightens their allies and enemies alike. Scribbled text describes them treading the line between life and death, embracing necromancy and other dark magics that once threatened the world during the War of the Undying, believing them necessary to challenge the remnants of the Awakened, to turn their own power against them. Their necromantic magics supposedly take on the cold hue of ice, as opposed to the red hue of blood magic. Written with fear, one account tells of them as stalkers in the shadows, hunting those that once hunted the living, be it by spell or by blade. A half-crazed set of paragraphs describes them as being anyone. A blacksmith or a farmer by day can become a vengeful shadow by night. A splash of blood covers the rest of these logs. Other accounts are fantastical tales of Deathwalkers following in the footsteps of their master by branding their souls and extending their lifespans in exchange for the ability to repurpose the bodies of the dead in new and morbidly creative ways, constructing monstrous amalgamations of bone and sinew, or to see through the eyes of the dead and walk in their wake. There are no accounts of Deathwalkers becoming liches, however. Some Deathwalkers are described as unpredictable. Some are even said to be crazed, driven mad by vengeance. Little is understood about the Deathwalkers' ideals that, He seemingly kept very close to them. To those that do know of them, they are seen as a divisive collective of radicals. To some, they are the harbingers of a new era of darkness, a changing of the proverbial crown of death and sorrow. Extremists, as they would say. To others, their goals are considered noble, but their means are distasteful or abhorrent. A common point espoused by the detractors that do know of them is the idea that Deathwalkers have become the very monster they seek to eradicate. That's what you know so far. This is where the trail stops.
While reading this, Yara is taking very meticulous notes, and then in her little notebook, tries her best to know she's not artistic, to draw that symbol. Looks back to that silken cloth she has. Someone has a lot of explaining to do when I meet up with her. In any case, the way, and returns the literature back to its shelf.
Okay.
Yeah. He's saying this out loud, like, damn. Right. What better place to hide than in plain sight? Okay. Brings up. Goes back to the archivist. I am finished with this topic. Let's look up something with a more brighter tone.
Very well. What do you wish to research?
The Ioshan rainforest.
I do
Anything about it?
I do believe we have plenty of information on the rainforest. Let us see what we can compile.
Okay.
I need you to make another investigation check with advantage.
Alrighty then.
$12. Okay, So, best you can tell, the Ioshan rainforest is the largest expanse of unexplored wilderness in the world. At least according to the research here, there's at least 4/5 of the rainforest is so thick that its many levels of canopy kind of block out the sky. So much so that sort of arboreal creatures that can cross entire. It's said that arboreal creatures can cross the entire rainforest without once stepping upon the ground. Trees that here can soar for many hundreds of feet in the air, and it's said that some are older than most mortal creatures alive today. The jungle floor is described as being choked by dense undergrowth, and there's very few true paths beyond animal trails. Visibility is limited. The area is thick with humidity. There's a great amount of the plant life here in the Ioshan rainforest is said to be carnivorous, grasping creeper vines, hungry spore clouds, impaling spike thorns, or seek the unwary. Yet, even the omnipresent dangers of lethal flora pale in comparison to the many creatures that make the jungle their hunting ground. Great hunting cats, cannibalistic monkeykin, prides of scale-maned reptiles, buzzing swarms of enormous insects that make the jungle this constant battle zone, where survival is an hourly struggle. Most especially here are, or rather most dangerous of all, are the giant reptiles that hunt beneath the canopies, the beasts that share common ancestry with the large-scale reptiles that roam the lands of Tanzia. However, the wilds of Iosha have caused them to grow to immense sizes, becoming hardier, more vicious and voracious than their Tanzian kin.
Ugh.
There's rumours that there may have once been some sort of tremendous extraplanar breach deep within the rainforest to some place called the Savage Fen. But that's... don't really gather much more beyond that for the 12.
No, I can piece the rest together since I did have Tanzia, and, well, I can figure the rest out.
TLDR, we're talking Skull Island in rainforest form.
Basically. Okay. I think after Dihar does that, she's gonna look to the archivist. You have a large supply of coffee. Perhaps in sacks.
Yes, we have plenty of coffee. Let me show you.
Good. I've been dying for some coffee.
And with that, you are indeed eventually provided with an ample supply of coffee. A very, very large, sort of polished marble mug is provided to you.
I just slowly sips it, but it is like liquid gold to her.
So, is there anything else you'd like to do?
I think after the coffee, probably head back up to the group. That's it.
Okay.
You got the information you needed. Oh, or then you'll talk to the archivist just before she starts leaving. Is it possible to leave a research one of the archivists here, since I have a business elsewhere?
Well, we all have our degrees of research that we do, our own research projects. Yeah, you know this, Dajar. I believe you said you've been here before.
Yes. Been a while, but yes. My time is limited and I have things to do. Can't stay here long.
Well, what are you looking to leave with the archivists here? What type of research? Perhaps someone is already working on it.
Think for a moment. Details about Sun Warden.
Oh. There is one person that is looking into the ancient history of Niobe. I might be able to see what progress she has made regarding that.
Be much appreciated. Other than that, that's it.
Very well then. Follow me. I'll bring you back to your compatriots.
Thank you kindly.
And with that, you're lifted back up to the rest of your party, and you rejoin them there.
Yep, and he's still drinking that coffee.
Yep. Right alongside Angus.
Been a long while since I had a cup of this. Just slithers back to group.
So, anything else? Anyone? Is there anything else anyone wants to do here?
I think I'm good. Most of the knowledge I want is something I have to explore myself because it is artificery.
Okay. Angus, did you want to talk to... You mentioned talking to Liska. Are you muted?
Yeah, I'm muted. Hello?
Yeah.
Can I be heard?
Yes, we can hear you.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. I mentioned talking to Liska. I didn't see a response in chat from Avon.
Or it might be AFK.
Avon, are you here?
Yeah, I didn't see anything in chat.
Oh, I'm sorry, I pinged you. Are you okay to be included in like an RP moment with Liska and saying like, hey, would you
Another one? Yeah, sure.
maybe want to help me? Yeah, because I sort of threw that scene on you earlier because you didn't get to do much last time, and I want you to be included. But at the same time, I don't want to just assume like maybe you're like, this scene ain't for me, you know?
Yeah,
Are we good to do that?
I'm sure. I'm happy to just sit back and let y'all RP and shit, but yeah, if you want to.
Well, hey, it's something that would help me on my objective, and I'd love to play with you. So if you're cool with it, then after a little bit of time, I think Angus would return with the venerable scholar. I have forgotten his name. I was taking detailed notes on Old Marn.
You did not ask for his name.
I did. You know what? I'll say at the end of this, I'll ask for his name, and you can just DM it to me later, so you don't have to pull up the name generator and be like,
No,
oh,
sorry,
it's...
I actually already have a name here. So.
Oh, shit. Oh, I love that. Alright, so he'll come up with the old dwarf, and it seems he's talking with him. He has a sort of a pleasant conversation, and they're briefly talking about some of the things on a surface level. And as they approach the area where Liska's at, he's just gonna kind of and look up to her, even though she's probably sitting.
I mean, still look up to her, yeah.
Yeah. Liska, you know how a while ago you mentioned some history you knew about some dragons and, you know, the involvements in the wars and just being generally a bit more knowledgeable than I was and about the whole sort of, you know, Vadima thing and not, you know, and what I was thinking about it. Jeez, how do you say this? I was wrong about things. You know stuff. And I was hoping, as the Blue Dragon, I might be able to get the glimmer of your wisdom to know where to start researching. Would you please help me? You can see he's very much kind of like biting his tongue, talking about being wrong, but...
I don't know what you're talking about with the whole wrong thing. I don't know what you were referencing, but sure, I'll help you.
Out of character, wasn't he talking, I think it was like ruby dragons or something about how, like, what are you talking about with, you know, dwarves?
How certain dragon types aren't
Yeah.
certain types of dragon aren't evil.
Yeah, and
Or
Angus was
whatnot.
like, what are you talking about? Everyone we've killed. And you're like, no, your people did this. And he's like, oh.
I mean, she still probably doesn't remember it. It's fine.
Oh, yeah.
uh,
Well, he's admitting that he's wrong to something.
yeah.
And that you were right, and now he's asking for help about
Yeah.
dragon lore.
She's like, but yeah, sure. Like, what do you need help with?
Well, Miss Grand Huntress, what kind of dragons might be found in Maylands and may enjoy the habitat, the den of like deep mountains?
Deep mountain habitats. No, attack.
And maybe
Well,
enjoy lots of valuable metals as their diet.
well, I think that is most dragons like valuable metal. Don't know about the diet part, but probably red or ruby dragons. Depends on if there's a lot of death around it or not. Sorry, these books are very dusty. Just kind of like floating around in the air. But yes, like red or ruby.
Did you mention Ruby before?
Yeah, that
Something
was the
about
one
that?
that helped us in the battle. That
Right.
prevented that extra, like, contingent of ogres and all those big, huge things from coming around the mountain. Where did it come?
Hey. Oh yeah. Huh. Do you know about any, perhaps, what's the difference between a red dragon and a ruby dragon? Because me, when I think of the color red, I think of rubies. What's the difference?
Well, one is a color and one is like a gemstone.
But
Like,
that's
do
red
you
is the,
am I sapphire?
kind of looks you up and down. When I think of, if I thought of a dragon your color, I wouldn't call it a blue dragon. I would absolutely call it a sapphire dragon because that's what that color, and that's the word to me. What's the
That is
difference
interesting.
between?
Because
Is there a
all
difference
sapphire
between
is blue
something-
and not all blue is sapphire.
Is it just? Is it kind
Okay, this is. Would you say that my skin is literally like sapphires?
No, it's the color of sapphire.
It's blue, sure. But they are literally like ruby and literally like sapphire.
Oh, it's not the color of ruby. They are actually made out of sapphires?
I don't know if there's actually. I think they just have the appearance, like their scales have the appearance of rubies.
That's different. Oh, is he kind of like his forehead? I thought that was just because it was a different color of red, so you called it ruby or something.
I mean,
don't
red
really-
dragons. Yeah, I like the red dragons. Sorry, the chromatic dragons are more matte colors. That's why it's like red, black, white, blue, green. Like you would say like all those dragons that we fought and killed look like the color that they are named. Yes.
Oh yeah, hey.
Well, a ruby dragon or a sapphire dragon are like deep. Well, I don't know the word in. Well, they are like gems. They are like the gems that they are named after, not colors like chromatic. So a ruby
Oh.
dragon is like ruby. A sapphire dragon is like sapphire. I think there's also like emerald, topaz, and diamond or something. There's rumors. Like I just recently learned about the gem dragons in and of itself. Like they're extremely rare. Like so, it was kind of a shock to me. I thought they were just a myth.
Oh. And at that point in Dwarven, he's gonna say, "Do you mean crystalline?"
She's gonna respond, Dwarven. Aye.
Aye, crystalline?
Aye, crystalline.
Aye, I see.
Hey, like the crystals of the rocks that grow in the ground.
Perfect. I thought it was that of a palette, not of a substance. Then,
It is an easy mistake to make.
was there anything in the visions that implied like ruby or colors or anything like that? Or anything in the scrolls or information?
You didn't see anything that would imply what coloration this dragon was.
Got it. I didn't know if it was like ambiguous, like the color of the scale armor that transformed or something like that. Perfect. At that point, he'll turn back, to Liska. And is there a difference of the temperament of the two? So far, all we seem to have thought is chromatics, and they seem to be more mean, more fighty. Is that standard for the colored sort of dragons? Or is it very individual? Or are most all black dragons mean necromancers? And most all, I don't know, blue dragons, honorable warriors, as he gestures to you.
Well, I think what you have to learn though is so most dragons in and of themselves are a bit unique. They're individuals just like you and I. So in this case, I'd probably say that in general, kind of going through like a broad brush, you'd say that the ruby dragons tend to be a bit more they support like freedom and kind of individuality. They hate tyranny, whatever they might see it. They tend to like they like a good challenge, but they also like to fight fair if they can.
Aye.
As opposed to like red dragons who are a lot more well, they're assholes actually. If you've ever managed to meet one, you hear a lot of bad stories about how they'll just like settle up in a nearby volcano next to a town and then just like reign over it in just dark majesty, just like a tyrannous king that taxes the land and continues to build his horde and while it's up in the mountain.
Not very secretive and subtle then.
No, but also very powerful. So they tend to it tends to work out for them while they're there, and you know how it is. For any evil lad, there's always evil followers, so you have to worry about that. But no, the gem dragons, temperament-wise, tend to be a bit more goodly, or if not that, a bit more neutral, as opposed to just the evil, malicious ways that you get from like Morthathax or Crothis. But aside from that, I think you're kind of in general, it's good to treat chromatic dragons with a good level of suspicion, as opposed to, you know, gem dragons, crystalline dragons, that you'd probably be better off having like a healthy respect for them. You know, treat them like they're here to generally do good, as opposed to evil. Give them the benefit of the doubt.
Aye, I see. And by the way, thanks for saying this in Dwarven. It's been a lot more easy to understand your meaning without the nuance of trade tongue.
It's been a while, you know. I haven't talked in Dwarven for quite some time, and I felt like going into it again.
Well, you know, I appreciate it, and I have to say, you're quite good at it. You know, it really shows that you've put in the care, and I appreciate that you've done that for my culture.
Well, you know, I spent a lot of time in
Dawn
Hollow.
Do the same for you.
I appreciate that a lot. If you want to learn demonic, I can always teach you.
You know, I think I would like that.
Right.
Oh, that said, the reason I'm asking is, an ancestor made a pact with a dragon back when we were dying to an invasion, and that's why the forge is going. So it seems my bloodline's linked to some sort of dragon, and it's a bit hush-hush because we're not supposed to talk about it, but I'm trying to figure out who or what that is. Could you maybe help me narrow down what kind of dragon might be specifically under Dune Hollow?
Under Dune Hollow. Sure, I mean, is there any particular reason that you want, like, what happened when your people were being eradicated? That, like, what did the dragon do?
Oh, relit the forge so that we could make magical weapons to, you know, repel Gorgot the Terrible, the Magnanimous, the Butcher of Peoples.
Just
did that sort of things. Relit it. Made a secret oath of all the Rune Lords. I'm not quite sure still what that is. Forged this, as he pulls up again the little chain necklace that has the ring. This is that nasty ring you wore and whatnot we banished the Sloddy from, eh? You know, you remember the evil frog looking thing with the teeth.
Yeah. Well, I do know that. I mean, if it was there any, like, you know, what's the? I think. Hold on, I don't know if there is this in Dwarven. Hold on, let me switch the trade tongue. Any, what is they say, tit for tat for your people saving?
Oh yeah, you see, that goes back to what I was thinking about it being maybe it eats metals and things, because we started the tradition of, in that forge, sacrificing magic items, sacrificing precious gems, sacrificing metals and silvers and golds and platinums and all those things into the special forge underneath the lodestone there. Boom, turns to dust. Bam, you gain the knowledge and power, and you can forge things, and it's just, you cannot fail should you at least be able to swing a hammer. Right? It's like it's a blessed guidance.
Well, you know, saying that, I'm likely to say that's probably a ruby dragon that you have saving your family back then. Ruby dragons tend to very much love forges and stuff like that. They like to create metals and armor and magic weapons. And if your people were dedicating those kinds of magical weapons to them, that probably was a ruby dragon. Especially if there wasn't, like, you know, people sacrifice or things of that nature. And sometimes I've even heard that they like to, and she kind of looks around, I've even heard they like to take the guise of blacksmiths to do some of their own tinkering and working. So you might have had some magic stuff in your family that probably was taught to them by Ruby Dragon.
As he's rubbing his chin quite vigorously. I see. You know, that might make sense.
And I
I
do
mean,
know,
after all, this ring was made, but it's of this orichalcum special metal, right?
Mhm.
So maybe the secrets of working with that is something that was learned, at the very least.
Maybe. And we at least know there's one Ruby Dragon still in Malin, the one that came by, helped us out, and might, well, I didn't really tell anybody else this, but you know when we were out, or when we were inside, and they were, all the goblins were outside trying to siege us, and it was, I think, I can never remember if it was before or after. I feel like it might have been after, but
Lots
yes,
happened.
because we were going inside to celebrate afterwards. So I remember there was this mountain folk lad, about the same height as me actually, which was kind of peculiar, you know. I'm kind of tall even for the mountain folk. But
Fine
I
specimen.
remember it, well, thank you very much. My brother was just as tall as me. But yeah, and I remember he was a red fellow. Kind of had these wide curving horns, but it struck me as odd the way he was talking. And it's so weird to see another mountain folk, kind of like myself. But I just had a hint that there was something. I think he was the Ruby Dragon that helped us out. And he was just coming in to see how we were doing after the battle. And he just needed somebody to talk to kind of make sure that we were okay. So that, and she just kind of like shrugs, like, that could have been your great ancestor's protector right there.
Do you know of any names, perhaps? In my vision, it stopped just before they said who they were. Or perhaps any fancy titles, if not a real name, or somewhere we might be able to start in our research here.
So, and out of character, I'm gonna say I think I might have wrote down his name, but I had that system wipe a long time ago where I lost my notes.
No.
So
Yup.
I do not. I'm sure that Liska would remember his name, but I
The
do not.
one other mountain folk she's met in the
Yeah,
continent.
it was.
Yeah.
His name was Dravik.
Dravik,
There.
yes.
I'm gonna say this. That feels like a name that is just so on the nose.
It is relatively just poignant.
So, and yeah, his name that he gave me was Dravik. I didn't get a last name. Probably would be something like, you know, a ruby or some obvious stuff, now that I think about it. But no, it was just
A
Dravik.
bit on the nose.
You know, right there.
Right.
Right on the
Hey.
button.
Right on the button. Right.
But that's
You're gonna.
also kind of a thing that dragons like doing. Like, you know, Motorthax took she looked like a woman at one point in time when she took Vellum. But it's something, you know, because, as you said, big old red dragon sitting in a volcano, terrorizing a town. It's just a bit obvious. Sometimes you have to be in human form, doing, you know, pulling strings and whatnot, or perhaps just saving a pit of folk being sieged by goblins.
If that's the case, Dravik, or a mortal persona called Dravik,
Mm-hmm.
that is a ruby dragon. Kravis, might we be able to investigate that further. Oh, this is Kravis Sootbrow. This is the senior of foreign
Sootbrow?
affairs in Melee. Sootbrow.
Oh, that makes sense with the brow. That's kind of sooty. Okay.
Yeah, I don't mind that. It's a skin condition.
Oh. Have you tried
Liver
soup?
spots. You get it when you're old.
Oh, that's weird. Is that a dwarven thing?
Aye. It's part of the skin, not the scales.
Oh. Yes. It is a pleasure to meet you, Sootbrow. I'm Liska Aluma, a mountain folk from Ragnarok.
Good to meet you, lass.
He kind of extends a sort of wrinkled, withered hand upwards.
Liska's like gonna look at that and be like, I would crush his bones, and so she's just going to extend a finger and thumb and just be like, yep. Like shake hands with the tiny old dwarf. It's like, yeah. I'm sure that you've had a lot of time here to gather up all sorts of information from this area, from this temple.
Oh, I've been here for a little over 50 years now. It's my second home ever since the mantle noticed my fondness for unlocking the secrets of Akteshi history across the island. The mantle offered me ample funding and put a spot here as a head researcher of dwarven affairs and historical archives here at the Temple Library.
Well, I'm glad you found use of all these scrolls and books. I'm sure it is very fulfilling.
So, about this, was it Dravik you said?
Hey,
I don't recall any Dravik in Dwarven history. No, especially not the Greenskin War. Name doesn't ring a bell.
Perhaps there's something, perhaps there's another name that he went by, or something of that nature, but is there perhaps something close to Dravik that, might have been a name that was perhaps a forge master or something of that nature? Someone, a famous blacksmith who, helped make a breakthrough in regards to weaponry or armor to help protect them.
I can't recall anything about of that nature, no.
What good are you? I'm just kidding. Anyway, so Liska that just be like, okay, just kind of shrug, look at Angus like, I tried.
I apologise, lass. This is all very new information to me. You've revealed quite a bit of quite a sum of knowledge that I might need to file through.
As he kind of rubs his head. This is a lot. Is there anything here we might be able to Can I start with researching, or?
I can give it the old polymath college try, shall we say?
Aye. If not, maybe we can be pointed to a different section, or who knows?
You might have to settle in then for the long haul.
So it seems. Well, thank you for the help, Liska. She's a very good.
I do what I can.
You're a good egg. You're a very intelligent lass.
Oh, you haven't been called that in a while. Alright, thank you, I appreciate it.
Alright, so you're going to give this one last try, yeah?
One last try to see if I can find out anything about ruby dragons, maybe Dravik being somebody or a name that appears in history.
Okay then. Make me an investigation check or history check with advantage.
I will do a history check.
Or if you like, you can have him do it.
I will say maybe he should do it, and I help him and give him the guidance.
All right then. Roll me your guidance, please.
Oh, yes. Baba Booey.
Oh, 4. Nice. Okay. And second roll. Okay, so you spend the best part of the next 3 hours scouring through all pieces of dwarven history that you can gather. How would I put this? You go through the golden age of the time when the first dwarves constructed their holds in Mayland. You go through the clan wars when the dwarven holds made war with each other. You go through the entirety of the Silver Age, the establishment of the Mountain King. Once again go through the Greenskin Wars, attempting to find anything of relevance that might be of use here. You then make your way through towards dragons, dragonkin, specifically what are called prismatic dragons, ruby dragons. Unfortunately, there is very little that holds any mention of a Dravik or anything or a name that's similar to Dravik. It's getting very late. You do get a bit more information about ruby dragons, their behaviours. They are the most physically imposing and strongest of all prismatic dragons. They are typically sort of bold, blunt, pragmatic. Most of all, they respect acts of valour. Living to hear sort of valiant, epic tales of heroism from smaller races. May even be willing to trade magic items for such stories. They might even attend war memorials, coronations and the like. Indeed, what Liska says about them opposing tyranny rings true here. Which puts both Ruby Dragons and Red Dragons in direct competition with each other. There's been, you notice, many and many tales being woven about the sort of legendary rivalry between Ruby and Red Dragons. All the various clashes, sort of epic clashes wrote about in books of fiction. Whether or not these are inspired by real events is unknown. And they typically, Ruby Dragons, they typically build their lairs near places of volcanic activity, which is what, again, puts them into competition with Red Dragons. There is very little else here that wasn't already told to you by Liska.
Could just straight up give me that good knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
What'd I do?
Can I throw in an odd question? I feel like this is something that would pop up in Angus's mind at the mention of a coronation. What about the king of Mayland? You know, the whole dwarven king and thing. Any mention of an odd guest?
That's a fair point, actually.
Advisor.
Mm-hmm.
There are the occasional stories written of, particularly in fictional settings, where a dwarven king usually has one guest that's been invited. That is always that always has the same outfit. A hide robe of ruby scales.
Can I do a memory check?
Sure. This would be a history check here.
History for this, that's okay.
Yeah.
But it was something that I was directly involved with, but I'm happy to do a history check.
Oh no, so remind me what this was?
There's 2 times we've seen the king since he started seeming off. The first is when we all met with all the leaders of all the holds of Mayland to discuss what had happened after the invasion. And the second time is when we were being shown off as we left the capital and we were on our way to the wall. Those were the 2 times the king, in a rather significant point of time, with a serious subject that affected more or less the nature of the country, was involved. Both were times where you would expect there to be advisors or important people that either would be sort of part of the crowd or distinctly themselves. Can I do any sort of check to recall those moments to see if I saw anyone that might have matched any of these sort of descriptions?
Sure, go ahead and typically when I do like memory checks that would require memory, it would be a history check.
Okay. Then is it past 8 p.m. or so when I would lose my my I can't believe thread of fate?
You've been at this for quite some time. We're headed into the early evening, about maybe 6 o'clock ish.
Okay. But if we left earlier, we might still have it. If not, I'm willing to pop an inspiration for it.
I don't think you would have it now, but yes, you can.
Okay.
You can use your inspiration.
All right, I will guidance in pop an inspiration.
Oh, 21. Okay then. It seemed mundane to you at the time, but it was during the parade. There was one face out of the crowd that you do recall seeing, slightly hidden in an alleyway. A fairly old-looking dwarf, silvery white beard, braided with all manner of various gold bangles and beads and ornamented jewellery. A rather stern-looking dwarf. Furrowed brow. He looked over the parade with a dubious gaze, like he was unsure what to think of it. And he had what looked like this sort of these glistening studded leathers, or was it leathers or was it half plate? You're not sure. But one thing's for certain. It was either ruby or red scales you saw glistening across the armour, and a set of pauldrons that looked like the claws of some sort of great beast.
Big chin rub. May have been there. Maybe that wasn't somebody just wearing the fucking trophies from a, Hunter's Keep contract. Yeah. All right. All right. Big memory. Big brain. Super moment. I imagine they'd be dubious and concerned when I just shot the thing in the city and like, behold power! It's like, hold on. Well, assuming I get back to the group and where they're at, I'll share that information with them.
Alright.
In my research on that for the night, come back up to the group. I've had a breakthrough. The research really didn't tell me much more, but it made me remember something. And for the sake of time, I'll describe that. You recall when we were at the tank in it's the leaving ceremony, and do you remember that guy? Did you see that guy standing to the side?
No. But I'm sure
Okay.
more like astute people probably will.
I think the more perceptive people in your party would have, Sayun in particular.
Oh yeah.
No, definitely.
So I was just sort of nodding slowly, and then Angus can tell when she sort of clicks something in her head, and then she sort of lights up and looks at him and just goes, "Wait a minute. You mean that guy?"
Hey, that guy! What with and he like has his fingers out like claws. Uh-huh.
I did find it a bit odd, but I just assumed Hunter's Keep.
You know, matey, I thought maybe he was wearing trophies. Old geezer that's a collector of these things. It makes sense, right? But, maybe it wasn't just for status, maybe it was him. He like does the mystical finger wiggles.
Geralt has question. Have a name. You have a name with him? Perhaps?
Well, Liska was told Dravik. However, we couldn't find anything of that. You know, just scoring through the archives, so I'm not sure if that was something they just made up on the spot, or wasn't connected, or who knows?
I could probably ask my father in the from my other clan. You probably know.
Well, I'd be quite grateful if you can get any information on this, as it's something quite important to me personally, and considering the information, it may be very well tied to Mayland and everything that's going on.
Give me a minute. Also, Gender, can you type out in the party chat the name Dravik so I can have it?
I honestly thought it was spelled with a C.
Yeah, Dravik.
Okay. I am typing up a 25-word response.
Interesting.
Want me to pause it while you think up a phrase to send?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Please.
I'll pause it here. Okay, what's your message?
Before the message. The message will be to Boris, but before the message, Tashara will ask Angus, so why is this name important? Particular.
Well, it's important to me because it's the best lead I've got from Liska. I'm trying to track down a specific ruby dragon. There's maybe a couple left in Mayland, she says, and it seems like my bloodline may have a history of a sort of deal or alliance with them, and I'm trying to understand that better. Specifically because of something that happened with the war against Gargot, and it's the Duneheart Forge and Greenbane whipping me. There's a lot going on there, and it's a bit sensitive. But it seems a great-grandfather about 450 some odd years ago, he was born, I'd say, made this deal with what's most likely a ruby dragon, whose one of their names is Dravik. And maybe not every dragon is a monster you kill, and I wanted to try to talk to them.
Okay. I have an idea. You will use one of her spell slots to do sending and ask Boris. Boris, you know of someone named Dravik? It is important to a Dwarven friend with a connection with family generation. Yes, right? Please, thank you.
Now I'm going to pause here while I think of a reply. So, the reply of Boralis, or Boris as you call him, comes through.
Ah, Bajar, good to hear you. Dravik, The name is unfamiliar. Could you clarify further?
He will use another sending spell, and I'm just prepped. My friend looking for a ruby dragon. His family Brackenbrick has connection to. It is very important that he finds this individual.
Now that is interesting. I'm not familiar personally, but I can do some research.
That would be very helpful, Father. Wait. What you find, I'll keep in touch.
Speak to me again soon, Dajar. I enjoy our talks.
Outwardly,
So that's 3 sending spells you've done.
Yep. Just
Casually
Our
using.
girl's got
sending
the slots for
Yep. Yep.
Plus,
it. Just casually sending off.
Yep.
Plus, you're gonna get them back soon enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he has a smile and looks to Angus. I have my father looking upon this individual. He'll get back to me very soon.
Oh, that's great. Is your father somebody that's, all... As he kind of wiggles his fingers at you? Like you? It's like the magical sort of wiggly finger sort of somatic component sort of thing,
Yes,
All-
he is.
Sagey.
Yes, to a degree. Way more than I am. Hard.
Well, I'm excited to see how that goes. Thank you. I'll make your choice of dinner tonight. And I'll make something special for you too. So he looks to Liska. Thumbs up. We wouldn't be here without you two.
Thumbs up, like.
Hey, maybe that hero's journey whatnot thing you're talking about is something that I am on, but I wouldn't be here without, help. Though I appreciate it. There's no such thing as self-baked bread, after all.
It takes a party to tell a tale.
And it takes one to eat bread too. And the rest of dinner. Not just bread, I'm thinking about bread. Do you all want some pastries? Tonight's special's on me.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I just finished drinking the rest of the coffee. Yeah, this is our second cup.
Yep.
Just looking at Dajar. Oh boy.
Her eyes,
She's not going to be sleeping.
her eyes twitching a little more than it usually is.
What?
A little
I
more
think
than
fine.
usual, but it's not too bad.
So, is there anything else you'd like to do here?
Oh,
Think we're covered? I'm gonna say yeah. Nobody's speaking up, so I think we're all topicked out.
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Okay then. So are you? Because Dajar, there are, rooms here available for individuals staying overnight to research, but they're not the most comfortable. Researchers here live a very what's the term? Ascetic.
Minimalist.
Minimalist life.
Yeah. Very, very sort of monk style residential places, bedrooms rather, bedchambers.
He would bring that up. And
Sour's gonna probably suggest that we get back to our wagons.
That's quite a bit of travel. That's hours of travel.
It is
yeah,
now.
when it's during the evening, so be traveling quite a bit in the dark. Let's spend the night over here. The rooms are very bare, is the best way to put it. Bare essentials. It probably ask around, be used. If me, everyone okay with that?
Is it dark outside?
It is dark outside. Yes.
Ah, okay. Oh shit! Where'd all the time go?
What happens when you research? Time passes fairly quickly.
Maybe I just fell asleep.
It may feel like that. Trust me, I did this like for several months. Too. Coffee and very little sleep.
Well, I'm happy either way, but much as I do like the comfort and safety we got with what we have, but it is a little dark to be walking on a bridge out in the ocean.
Would we feel more comfortable outside in the tent instead of in one of the little rooms? If you want the sort of the fur and the warmth and all that, or would you prefer just holing up in a room for tonight and sitting out in the morning?
Jenna, how much space was there outside before we entered?
There was a very, very sizable plaza, sort of decorated with this sort of a marble gold mosaics. It was beautiful. The way they sort of glistened in the sunset.
If we go doing that, we may want to get permission.
The car is gonna have a look.
I was thinking about outside.
Yeah, outside. They got all them. They got that big, nice area.
Yeah.
I don't think now would be a good time to talk to the head librarian.
I mean, don't have to get it directly from the top. We could just ask around and see if it's all right too.
Oh, we have this big lass here. The rooms are very nice, but a little ill-sized. Might we be able to set up a tent for her outside when we stay out there? Things like that, eh?
Yeah, probably might work.
Can't hurt to ask, and worst case scenario, then we just use the rooms as best we can, and I'm sure they'll manage. If they don't want us using the plaza.
All right, I'll go ask. And the car goes to someone.
Okay. So you ask, the basic reply is, sure, just keep the place clean, you know.
And she comes back to relay that. Yeah, keep the place clean. That's basically all is required.
Yep. Basically, keep the place clean. Don't be a nuisance, and don't camp right in front of the stairs.
Keep the path clear. Be nice. All the good shit. Basically, what Dushar's gonna be coming back saying. The group.
Oh, there we go then. Just find a sensible place to put it, and there we go.
Okay. Then, so
you head out. Make your way down the front of the temple. You can easily set up your camp there. That's the wrong
one.
Wrong one.
Suddenly another star show.
Oh
No,
no!
we have
Not again.
and I'm going in.
I got a null arrow.
I love that.
because you can't read the texture, apparently.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, I got a null arrow because it
What
couldn't
now?
load the texture.
Can't load the text. What the fuck?
The
Yeah,
fuck?
I got no idea why.
Try reloading. F5.
It's fine.
Oh no, you must log in to access your game. Okay, let's go ahead and fix this up here.
Eventually, he'll turn that tent into a proper full-on just like camp kitchen. But for now, it's like, if we're in a safe area, you might as well give Liska something Liska-sized.
Yeah. It's like they seem inclusive, but the architecture can only do so much.
Yep.
Are you using your instant fortress as well?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I'll
okay.
do that. That way everybody's got a place to be, its proper shelter. And the instant fortress works. I just imagine for Liska, it's not necessarily the most comfortable. Just because of like, well, height restrictions.
Oh, does Talali come with as well?
Into the fortress? No. She just lays down the ground, passes the fuck out.
All right.
Pretty sure she has her own thing here.
Oh, yeah. Shochitl is there as well.
Yep.
Oh, great. If Law is here, Yarwood wants to talk to her.
I don't know. Wait, is she coming out to be with us, or does she have a room on the inside she's staying in?
I mean, are y'all saying that? I guess question. Would y'all announce that you're leaving?
Definitely.
Like, is this
Probably.
like not coming back the next day?
We don't know where she went off to, and I don't know if we're the dramatic "we are leaving now" sort of people. It's not Irish goodbye,
Yeah,
but
but
we're not. Fuss about it.
We're definitely
I'd-
not the, we're not
I'd
the people to say, all right, let's go
I'll say
step
that
outside.
she'll hear through the grapevine that y'all are leaving or that y'all have left, and she'll catch up and just she would catch up.
Because she's a monk.
No,
Yeah,
of course,
because she's a
monks.
monk. She's fucking fast.
I mean, we're gonna have a hard time trying to outrun her.
It's true.
Oh, fucking luck.
I honestly believe nobody here can.
I think the only one who could, at least for a time, is gonna be Liska with the boots.
Look at that.
You've got
Outfly.
or outrun her for days.
Trying to go outside?
Oh
Yeah, I'm trying to go outside, then he'd probably go like,
Yep. Nobody can leave.
Oh yeah. That's true.
he'll be up at the very top, and then Misty step down to the bottom.
Okay.
None of you are leaving.
Magic. I can go where I want.
That is probably going to be a point of contention at some point. I
Hello?
just want
Can
to
I be
say
heard?
that.
Yes.
Sorry, I was trying to talk. I guess I was muted weirdly. We've established this is a safe place. Like, bandits and shit aren't just gonna roll up to this temple. Or this
yeah.
library.
There's several abjuration barriers on the bridge over.
He's not even gonna bother closing it. This is just a roof over our head. Not that we need a tower.
Ah, okay. So I wouldn't have to waste my spells. All right, cool. Yarwood, well, which Talali? Talali?
She's gonna be like sitting, leaning her back against Chicottle's side.
You have a moment. I have a question to ask.
Sure. What you want to know?
He's quiet for a moment before Colin sitting down. How to tame one's beast, at least the inner beast. As blunt as I can be with it.
The inner beast. What you mean? Like, do you have something growing inside you or something, like a parasite?
Kind of, but it's not.
You should probably see someone about that. That's probably not good for you.
It's more like a. He's trying to find a word for it, like my darker half. That's a better way of putting it.
Your darker half. I mean, what you want to know? Like how you tame it?
Yeah, how to incorporate it, like not push it away, but to confront it.
Well, we getting conflicted feelings right here. Do you want to confront it or do you want to tame it? Like, you still want it after everything's said and done?
I probably still part of me. I want to accept it. So,
okay. Then you just accept it. What's wrong with having a darker side? Everybody does. All your friends in that big old tower you got, all of them have darker sides. Just don't show up.
Mine is more.
More what?
Physical? In a sense, like.
What, you change color or something?
No, it's just way better. And he gets her, not the dagger that Bum made, but probably one of the old ones. He pickpocketed off one of the Dragonborn and grasps the blade with her hand, and then her normally ice blue eyes turned red as the blood on her hand covers it in an almost crystalline type form. This is what I mean.
So your eyes change color. What's so dark about that?
It's not just
kind of dumb
eyes.
to grab a blade with your bare hand, but you know.
It's
I thought
more
you were
like
a wizard folk type. Supposed to be smart or something.
I've been dumb. Some of my decisions have been dumb. Outwardly. But the part of me that I can't control once I start using it. And once I let feelings out, I start changing to something vicious, attitude-wise. I try and use this magic sparingly. The more I do it, the more hungry it gets. I have little understanding of why I have this.
So, you're using magic, and it's making you want to use it more.
Yes.
Then don't use the magic. Pretty
How can
damn
I-
simple. You either go full bore and just use it as much as you can, or you just stop using it. You have a side of you don't want. You have a side of you that you think is the core personality or something. The core of your being. And suddenly, this other part coming up starts fucking with you. And you don't know if you're gonna be the same person after everything is said and done. Is that it?
Yes.
Well, you're not. Even now, you're not the same person as you were 10 minutes ago. Things happen. It's like, if it happens, it happens. If you think you're gonna hurt somebody with it, don't. Stop using it. Otherwise, like I said, go full bore. Embrace it. Embrace that change. I think you're gonna hurt your friends when you go down that path. Or just hurt yourself.
He's very quiet. Probably myself more so than my friend.
Me just saying. I know that kind of magic can be pretty insidious. And it's not the kind of thing that you quit cold turkey. But it really all depends. Maybe you can find a way or something. I know there are some shaman around these parts that could possibly give you something to, you don't know, stave off the approach, stave off the, sorry, not trying to think of what it is in Dre tongue, the corruption. But I feel if the biggest deciding factor gonna be you deciding whether or not that type of magic is worth doing if this is the result. Because you're the one doing the casting, Dejar. Nobody else making you do it. You're the one doing the spells. That's something you're gonna have to deal with. You're gonna have to take responsibility. Nobody else making it. You have a look on your face. That makes sense. You understand what I'm saying?
Does.
Okay. Good. Now, anything else I can do for you? I finally got this big old lump of head back. And she like pats the side of now I can actually sleep comfortably out here. You can go back to that giant steel metal tower or something. So weird. Just seems like that'd be cold or something. Cold or something.
Yeah. Better than being in an alleyway.
There ain't no alleys nearby. What you talking about? This is open land.
Well,
You even have beds in there. She points back to the temple. Come on.
before the tower, before venturing, I used to just in alleyways.
Oh,
Shelters.
that's all. That's its own thing. Don't worry about that. Now you have some nice, comfortable sand here to take away all your aches and worries. Still warm from the day. She kind of like buries her hand in the sand.
That's very true. Think it gave me a lot to think of. So thank you. I don't think there's anything else.
Alright. Well. Just take care of yourself. Like I said, there ain't nobody that can make you do something like that outside of your own type of magic.
It's true. Have a good night, Talali.
Good night.
And she back to just before she gets into the tower, wraps up her hand from the bandage, takes out that sun staff, takes out the plague staff. Right. Goes up to the ladder and wait.
You gotta double click the ladder.
Tries to find Angus. Yes.
Angus is probably just in the tower at this point.
The second level or third?
Somewhere there is an Angus.
At this point, he's probably, let's say he's at the first. And he's actually at the forge.
Okay. She comes into the door. Angus, I have something I want to give back to you.
Oh.
He drops the unstaff close to the wall near the ladder and horizontally presents the plague staff. I'm giving this back. I have already enough on my plate. I don't need it.
He's just gonna raise a brow for a moment. Kind of side glanced at you. Turn back to his forge. Lay down the hammer. He'll walk over and he'll grab at the staff. So, what made you change your mind?
I already have enough power inside me. Whatever else I need, I don't need that.
Kind of rubs at his chin. Inside you?
Yes.
What you mean?
I can use blood magic. Don't need the use of curses. And with that, I also have a magic connecting to the cosmic Ethereum. So I already have something.
He'll grab up the staff then. I see. You hadn't been using it, I'd noticed. Not my concern. But if you feel that you're well equipped enough already and you don't need it, I understand. You have plenty of magics.
However, my bounty, my glory that I must face. I would like something better suited against those type of beings, like the Lottie. Act. He will reach into a bag and pull out a vial of Lottie blood. Is it possible to make something against those beings with this that I can fight against physically?
Yes and no. But this is such a small amount, I doubt I would be able to pull enough metal out of this to even make a thimble. However, instead, I could try something a little more experimental with it. The first thing that comes to mind is making something and quenching in it. Perhaps taking the blood itself and trying to condense it down to the point that it becomes solid. A type of a gem. And put that on something. There are hypothetical options. Things I haven't tasted, but could work. What would you want?
He thinks for a moment. A sword? A short sword?
Could be done. I could not make it out of the metal like I did the tools. There's just simply not enough. I could make something out of some other material, try quenching it in this, or imbuing this into it in some way. Perhaps that could work. Only thing that comes to mind. I have, as far as a short sword, but can I ask you, why do you want a sword? You're a sorcerer.
Also, one would considered roguish and thievery.
Aye, but is that your strengths? Do you think that you would be able to swing it, this thing, in a manner well enough to end one of those slotty type creatures? Would you be able to survive close enough if it got into a proper scuff with you and its range? The reach of those terrible arms, how many hits could you take? Because I have a feeling if that thing puts you down, it'll eat more than just the flesh. It'll probably consume your soul or some other terrible cursed thing. You know, I have no proof for that, but it just seems like the nasty kind of bugger that would. So, if you want one of those sort of short swords, I could make one for you. I'm just saying, you know, My mind went to a magical wand.
Maybe. Yeah, probably a wand would do better than.
Can you do any types of magic that you wiggle your fingers and point your hand at, and bam boom, out comes some terrible spell that says kerblam to some sorry sword at the other end?
I have quite a few.
Well,
devastating one. Yes.
If you have something like that you could shoot out of the end of a wand, or maybe this is something that it could be like this reliquary that has a bit of me blood in it, that makes it harder for your magics to be overcome. Right? Maybe something like that specifically just for the creatures with this type of blood. See, my mind is something that would lean into your strongest suits, which is your magery. If you want a sword, I can do that, and maybe it will hurt it a little bit more, or if it's, you know, extra durable, this could somehow slip through the armor or the thickest parts of its hide, but it might make it a little bit easier to puncture. It might make it a little bit sharper, cut a little deeper into the creature, but ultimately, you know, it's just a tool that amplifies your skills, and if you aren't exceptional at that, well, is it your best bet? If you want to take down this quarry, are you willing to, you know, take that risk? I mean, it's up to you. You say what you want and I'll make it. I'm just sort of thinking, well, if I made this for you and you went off thinking that you were invincible because you've got a little dagger or short sword thing that can do a little bit more, you run up there and get yourself killed because you're not a proper, you know, frontline combatant like Liska or like Vellum, and you go up and you get yourself slapped so hard you're into last Tuesdays. Well, I'd feel a bit bad if I didn't say anything about it and I had to fucking start your heart again.
Ultimately my choice to make a point.
So, I mean, if you want, I can just get started on the short sword now. But it's just some things to consider. There's more options than just that. Sometimes the best way to stab at the heart isn't with the blade.
Probably, you know what? Have staves, have daggers. Maybe something that makes my spells stick more. Probably be a better case.
Fucking slap you. Sorry, continue.
Right. Well,
let me think on it though.
you think on it. And maybe I'm just recommending a wand because I've been working on one. But, you know, it just seems like it would be more suited your style. Rather than your strengths.
I have a lot to think about, so what's one more on my plate?
Well, sometimes you get one too many pieces on the plate, and the whole lot sloughs off the moment you try to move it, you know?
But I'm taking one thing at a time. The others are not so important, so this one it's presently important.
Hey, well, just be mindful of your limits. It's not so much that you take on too much that you'll fail, it's that if you take on so much, your quality will diminish. Masterworks require their time and care and full attention, and if that's spread between, I don't know how many things you've got, can you really give it the attention it deserves? So think on it. You have some time, I bet, before you have to go off stabbing things. Sort out whatever you need to sort, and when you're ready and absolutely sure, I'll be here.
Okay, I got it.
You'll hand back the slotty.
And you will
I've got
take
one
it.
myself.
Right. I'll get back to you on one of them. That's for sure.
Anything else?
Nothing else.
Very good. Right then.
It's at that moment, Angus, that you hear behind you.
Excuse you?
Wait.
That was a cat.
Is that a motherfucking fugly cat?
Is that?
It
steps outside. Hello? Oh, hello.
You see before you a small black and white cat. Large emerald eyes that sort of drifted far apart a little bit too much. And it appears to be carrying some sort of small backpack.
Wilford.
And
I remember you.
with that, we're going to end this session.
Fucking wonky-eyed cat. Gotta love it.
Wilford.
Cliffhanger cat.
The derpiest of cats.
Indeed. You've got mail.
Of course we do.
Alright. On that note, I'm going to stop recording in 3, 2, 1.